I wanted to text my husband, hey, I met a good guy, but it's like, I'm not wanting to text my husband. I'm wanting to text my best friend. That's why it's so hard, because you're not just grieving over your husband. You're grieving over your best friend. Like, why would I want to tell my husband I met a good man? So I'm Michelle, aka White Widow. Ozzy and I met at a Halloween party. I met this girl and she invited me to this Halloween party. I was like, oh, I'm not going to go. I immediately text her back, like, no, I got to babysit. But that was a lie. Then, I start thinking about it. I'm like, it's a party. If I don't like it, I'll just leave. While I'm going, my husband and like a group of his friends were getting out of the party, going in a car, and they were going to go to another spot. They even started up the car to leave. He said, you know what? Let's just stay here. There's drinks here. Let's just stay here. So they got out of the car. And when they got out of the car, I pulled up. And we literally walked into the party at the same time. When I walked in, I was like the new girl on the block. So everybody's trying to make you feel special. Hi, I'm blah, 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 blah. And it's just like a group around me. And I see my husband, tall, dark, handsome guy, just like walking around, like he's tall. So he was above the whole group and he's just staring at me like that. That's what I was saying. Like, men know, they know within 7 seconds what they want to do with you. We are leaving the party. He's helping cleaning up the party and I'm walking out, walking slow, trying to see if he's going to ask for my number, which I knew he was. I just didn't want to get in the car and drive off. Had to give him time. So he comes and he's like, hey, can I get your number? It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I give him my number and he puts it in. He's like, it's me and you now. That night that he met me, he was deleting pictures, girls' numbers, all that stuff. And I'm like, why are you doing that? He's like, I don't want anything to mess this up. Like, men know. Guys will change for a certain girl. You can only keep a man if he wants to be kept, and he wanted to be kept by me. A lot of girls that I'm seeing now, like being a single woman, is they hold on to these guys thinking, I'm the one that can change him. You are not. You wouldn't even be thinking that if you were. He would have already changed, But I wasn't going to go. He was going to leave and go to another one, but something brought us and made us meet, and we did.
Okay, Michelle, can you tell us how you and your late husband first got together? Like, what was your first date? Do you have any fun stories from the time that y'all were dating?
Well, my husband was Hispanic, so he's, always had a lot of Hispanic food. So I wanted to change it up. I wanted to stand out, gotta show him why he picked me. So our first date, I take him to Big Mama's Chicken and Waffles. Had to show him what was up. I mean, I'm White Widow, but I'm seasoned, baby. And he fell in love with it. He never had chicken like that. Because, Hispanics, they do more like rotisserie, Puerto Rico stuff. So when he had Big Mamas, and then he's like, why they give a waffle? I'm like, don't ask questions. He just got to put it together. He bit the chicken, and he bites the waffle, and I still remember he looks at me, an explosion just happened in his mouth. See, my mouth's watering talking about Big Mama's chicken waffle. We got to change the subject. He drooling.
Big Mama says
that's a hitter.
You gotta go do it today though.
Because you're gonna get jacked.
You can't go at night.
Don't get the catfish because they might get it out the creek that's right there.
How did he propose to you? And what was the journey like going from dating to being married for both of y'all?
He wanted to get married, or he wanted to get engaged, get married, get the house, have the kids. He wanted that. And like we did that. He proposed to me at the butterfly garden. I had like my friends were there. And I'm like, what? And then all of a sudden when he got down on his knee, my sister pops out of the bushes, like everybody was just popping up. I'm just like, it's like that game, that arcade game, right? And I'm just like, what? And then he got down and I was so mad because I didn't get my hair done. My hair appointment was the next day. I had roots. I looked like Britney Spears going through hard times. But I had my nails done, so that was cool. But he saved up to get me this Takori ring. I had picked the ring before I picked the man. And I showed him that. He worked his ass off to get that ring. And when he gave me the ring that I wanted, like, that's when I knew, like, it was him. He was Himothy. He had a plan in position, and he executed it. He was a manly man. He was a great provider, great caregiver. Like, he was a great dad, great husband, great best friend. Going from a man like that, like, that has a plan, like, he showed me, like, if a man wants to take care of you, he will. And I don't just mean, like, financially, emotionally, mentally, all that. But going from that, it allows me, I'm not going to settle. Pick me or miss me. I'm not going to settle for nothing because life is too short. I'd rather be alone than settle. These guys, like, I don't need them, like, financially or, like, sexually. So, you got roses now. They're in competition with that. That thing stays charged, ready to go. These men, half of them aren't even ready to go. And I mean that, like, in all different types of ways. You can take it how you want it. If I never fall in love again, I'm cool. Like, if that was my last love, because it's such a high, like, nothing can either get better than that. It can get the same. You know what I mean? But I'm never going to go down. My husband said we always go up. With the car you get, with the house you get, like, you always go up in everything. One of the things that I'm worried about if I don't find love is how my daughter perceives men or how a man should be, because she's not seeing it, She's not seeing how a man treats the mom or her mom, or she's not seeing, like, how a man takes care of his kids because it's not here anymore. The best thing that I can do is be the woman I want Kennedy to be and be the woman I want Lincoln to bring home to me. So I keep the pictures up so my daughter doesn't forget. My son, it's harder because he didn't know him. So I'm really hoping that, like, my husband's brothers, you know, step up and teach him things. Or his best friend, he has this one best friend, Martin, and he has a best friend named Ethan. I told Ethan I'd give him a shout out. So, hi, Ethan. So, taking my son fishing and doing stuff that I would not do, you know? That's the only thing I can think of. But Lincoln, it's harder because he didn't know him. Kennedy, I can show her videos. Like, remember that he went to the hospital when Link was 5 months old. So I only got like 5 months of him and his son.
I can imagine the journey of his illness and loss was really tough. Can you walk us through when your husband first got sick and how it started?
When he first got sick, we were on my way to my brother's house. And he's like, my throat hurts a little bit. And he's like, I must have just, like, breathed something at the shop or something, aggravated it. And then we went to my brother's house. Everything was fine. We were playing, like, they were hanging out, having a beer, stuff like that. And we come back, and then, like, the next day, like, the fever hits. And then the body aches start. And I was checking his temperature and his oxygen. He stayed in my daughter's room instead of in our room because I kept all the kids in our room. Because even though the kids had it, we were still like kind of afraid that it would get as bad as him if they were around him. You know, we didn't know. No one really knew what COVID was. So he started getting the body aches and the chills, and his oxygen went down to 88. It's like really bad for adults, like kids too. And I called the ambulance. They came and they checked him. They're like, "Well, you seem fine. You know, you're up moving." Like, we were laughing, everything, like at his oxygen at 88. And then I told him, like, "Babe, just sleep in the room with us, you know, like just sleep in the room." That was last time, like, he slept in that room. I wake up, I look at him, and I see him. And so I ran over there and I checked his oxygen. It was down at 77. And I called the ambulance. They came in. One guy was spooked to even come in. And it's like, put a mask on. He puts a mask on. He comes in. The other EMT guy was very, like, attentive. And the one that was, like, paranoid Patty asked for my husband to put a mask on. And I'm like, he can't breathe. The mask that he needs is an oxygen mask, you know? And the EMT was like, she's right. He needs oxygen. You can't put a mask on. It's like, if you're scared of viruses and COVID, get another job, you know? And I'm not hating on people and their, like, decisions. Like, we were all afraid of COVID. But, like, you're supposed to save people's lives. You're not supposed to make it feel like he's going off in the hands of someone that doesn't even care about him. So he went to the hospital, and he was getting better. They wouldn't let me see him. And then they changed his mask from a regular mask to like a CPAP mask. When they did that, I was FaceTiming him, and that's all we would do is stay on FaceTime all day, you know? But I don't know why something made me get off the phone with him. I was like, okay, well, you know, you got your new mask on. Let me put Lincoln down, and then I'll call you right back. I go to put my son down. Within like 5 minutes, the hospital calls me and told me that he coded. And while I was on FaceTime with him, I had messages with him. He was texting me, ask her if I can breathe through my mouth. Ask her if I can breathe through my nose, you know, because they didn't inform him. And he coded. And then that's when COVID just, you know, took it from there. They brought him back and they put him on the ventilator. And that's when we were trying to find an ECMO machine. I was pretending to be a charge nurse and calling hospitals myself. And that's when you got to, like, block out your story, you know, like, because you were hearing stuff like, oh, he's been on the vent 3 days now. We're not going to take him. Just like he's nothing. And that's what it is, you know, like, at the end of the day, we're all just ants in an ant farm, you know, in reality. So I found a place in New Mexico that was going to take him. They were going to care flight him. They called me asking to care flight him for me to approve it. And the doctor called me and they said he won't even make it in the air. I was calling the hospital every 2 to 3 hours to check on his vitals. Like, that was so tiring. Because you weren't hearing the answer you wanted to hear. You were hearing that it was going down and wasn't going up. So I went to bed that night, and I woke up at 5:15 in the morning. And I called to check on him. They didn't answer. So I go to the bathroom, wash my hands. I call at 5:17, and the nurse answers. And I did the same thing I always did. Hey, this is Michelle. I just wanted to check on my husband. He's in room 1. So she's like, is this Michelle? And says my last name. And I said, yes. She said, oh, honey, I was getting ready to call you. He just passed. He woke me up. He was like, wake up. I'm out. I'm leaving. It's all on you now. We did have conversations of what he wanted to do because Ethan, his grandma, Beverly, she had passed, and we went to her funeral 2 months before he got sick. She was cremated. And that's where he had made the comment, oh, she was cremated? I'd want to be cremated. And that's what I did. And I like that because he's here in this house. I like that I brought him home. But it fucks with you mentally because he left as a person and came back in as ashes. Like, that really messes with you. It shows how disposable we actually are.
So grief comes out of nowhere, and it can be really difficult to cope with. Can you share any memories when you were unexpectedly hit with waves of grief?
So you're like trying to find peace within yourself, and there's going to be interruptions that disrupt your peace. You know, people, places, things where you have memories, you know, that can really like disrupt your peace. But you gotta like be strong and focused. The funeral home that we actually used, they would text me every single holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, you know, his birthday. And like, it was my birthday. I was going to go to Ocean Prime with my friend Samantha. And I was having a good day. Like, not saying I didn't think of him, because, you know, you think of him all the time. I was having a good day. And then here comes the funeral. They call me to ask if I had thought of funeral arrangements for myself. I am a 35-year-old woman. I am not like the Golden Girls Club, 83-year-old, me and my homegirls were about to like, you know, no. I'm 35 years old. You think I want to think about me dying? So then you start thinking like, oh shit, what if I die? Who's got the kids? And then you really got to sit back and think like, who's got the kids? You know? And that is a big trigger. That is unnecessary. It's disrupted peace. All it is a marketing tactic. And all that was for them, for greed, to try to get, oh yeah, oh, I'll take the white casket and I'll take this. Here's my credit card. Like, that's all they want. And that just shows you once again, like, we're ants in an ant farm.
Can you share with us about your support system you had during your grieving process? Did you do any therapy or counseling to help with the grieving?
I was spoiled by having this widow friend. He's a year ahead of me, so he would prepare me for stuff. So everything that I would have done, like meeting someone or, you know, being sexual with someone, he told me, like, don't do any of that until you are ready. Because for the first year, you're just trying to fill in the void. And then what sucks is like, once you think you fill in the void, you didn't. You know, you didn't at all. But it's like, you feel so dead inside. So I'm not going to knock any woman. Like, I've seen women that go and they're with a guy 2 weeks after. And I'm not going to knock that. Like, just because I didn't do that doesn't mean it's not okay for them. And if anyone judges them for doing that, like, they're not in her shoes. You feel dead inside. So if getting a little hanky-panky makes you feel alive and makes you feel existence, do it. Do it. Whatever keeps you sane in this world, do it. But I just wasn't ready because I just don't think someone deserves that part of me yet. I'm not rushing or anything. because dating in your 30s is nothing but the leftovers. So you got the guys that have been divorced and damaged, they're ready to go out and let their freak flag fly again, and it's not the same when you're in your 20s, but it's like the leftovers. And, I was telling a girlfriend of mine, you want to at least find the Thanksgiving leftovers or the Christmas leftovers, not the Pizza Hut leftovers or the Taco Bell leftovers that you forgot to put in the fridge, and then you wake up in the middle of the night and put it in the fridge thinking it's still going to be good. It's not.
Never a good idea.
No. The Thanksgiving leftovers always get put back in the fridge. Every single time. And sometimes they're better than the regular meal, Not saying anyone would be better than my husband, because that's not. But you can at least find like a decent leftover. There's one guy that I'm like giving attention to. He's a gentleman. And like we connected, but he had a family member pass and it kind of hit him hard. So he kind of like just, drifted off. But it's so weird because like meeting him, I wanted to text my husband, hey, I met a good guy, but it's like, I'm not wanting to text my husband. I'm wanting to text my best friend. That's why it's so hard, because you're not just grieving over your husband. You're grieving over your best friend, and stuff like that. Like, why would I want to tell my husband I met a good man? But it's because he wasn't just my husband. He was my best friend. He was half of me, Like dating, so many of your girlfriends say, you got to put your egg in different baskets. Otherwise, you're going to get hurt in this day and age. But when you've been in like a 10-year relationship, it's hard to do. And I think if you put your egg in this basket, that basket, like your eggs aren't valuable, I'd rather put my eggs in one basket. If that basket doesn't work, get another basket. But I'm taking all my eggs with me. Because the guy that I do like, why would I give these peasants like the same attention? You know what I mean? Like that's not, like I'm cool with talking to one dude, I don't want to talk to multiple dudes. It doesn't make me feel like I'm cool or anything. And it's hard to do from going married to your best friend to entertaining, because that's all it is. You're someone's side piece until you're the main meal. And it's like, if you can't see that I'm the main meal, pick me or miss me. Like, I'm not a girl that would wear my heart on my sleeve. So this is really hard. Like, I can tell you all the guys I said I love you to on one hand, including my dad, So, like, this is hard to, like, fall in love the way I did, where you think it's endless and then it ends. And that just reminds you, like, everything comes to an end. I've really realized how strong I am. Like, I should be in a mental hospital. This sucks. Like, it sucks. Especially the days. Like, you're just going through the motions. And then once the kids go to sleep, that's when you start realizing he's not coming home. Like, he is not coming home. And it just, you don't realize how strong you are until you gotta be. It's the best advice, like, I've ever heard. And I'm actually, like, proud of myself. Even though some of my friends and family say I need therapy. But, I mean, that's mainly, that is because they are only seeing when I break down, because that's when I will call them. So they're seeing that version. They're not seeing the happy moments of us playing Ring Around the Rosie, pocket full of, posies, stuff like that, or hide and seek, because I'm not calling for that. I'm in the moment. But when I call them and crying, Michelle, you need to get therapy. Damn, I ain't trying to hear that. I know, but I'm not trying to hear that. Like, all right, well, I'll talk to you later. I need therapy. Like, damn, do I need therapy? Do I need therapy? You really start, like, thinking. But yeah, I need therapy. But it's like, you just gotta laugh at life. Because That was the worst hurt that I've had in my life. So nothing else can even compare to that. And knowing that, it's kind of like you're like fearless in a way. I used to be so worried that my husband would get in a car accident or something like that. Now I see all of that was dumb. Because when it's your turn, it's your turn. We're all in a line, a single file line. That's all it is. You just don't know what part of the line you're on. Are you in the front? Are you in the back? Are you in the middle? Did you let somebody get in front of you? You know, like, you don't know.
For those who are widows and are considered dating again, what advice would you give them based on your experience?
Don't settle. Even though like half of your heart is missing and it feels like that, like still don't settle. Like if you didn't settle the first time, don't settle this time. Just know nothing can hurt you as much as that hurt you. Remember your worth. Remember, I think I saw Steve Harvey's daughter say, like, remember you were the prize. And you can't forget that because you are the prize.
I can only imagine that losing a spouse is a really tough test on your faith. Can you tell us about your relationship with God during this difficult time?
I'm not going to lie, at the first, I was mad at him. You got all these dads that you could have, but you picked mine. You picked the one that, like, wants to be present in his kid's life, that wants to show a girl how she should be treated. You pick him? When there's little girls out there that won't even notice if their dad's gone or not, it makes no sense because you're literally causing trauma on her now. Now she's gonna, like, which I have to control that. I have to make her strong. We fall down, we get up. And I didn't understand, like, you did what you're supposed to do. You get married, you get the house, then you get the kids. And you take him? What? I was mad at him. But then people start helping you out that are strangers. And that's him saying, don't give up on me, you know? Because you want to. It's so easy to. But it's like, why take the easy way out? You know, I like a challenge. I like a competition. I like all that. So, like my husband's job, gosh, they like helped me out so much. They didn't know me, but they knew him. Like, even the place I got the car from, they still gave me the discount as if he was still here. Like, places are still doing that as if he's still here. And that's because of the man he was. Like, that's such an amazing feeling to know, like, you picked a good one. I remember, like, when he passed, you want to be angry, man. You want to, like, be angry. So I take his phone. I'm looking, trying to find something so I can be mad, so I can process this. Like, ha, but you cheated on me. But you know what's worse than having a man cheat on you and then passing? Having one that didn't cheat on you and passing. Then you really start like, damn. He was a good man and he's not here. I went all the way back to 2011 when we met. Emails all looking for something. But he did exactly what he did. He dropped all them girls. Could see them texting, trying to reach out to him. Like in the beginning when we were dating. He ignored all that. It's like I should have done that because that made it so much harder. Like, now I'm missing a good man. Would have been easier to miss like a shit man because you're like, bye, Craig, you know. But but it's not. It leaves you with a feeling like Martin, Jada, like come back. So this is only gonna be good for 90s raised kids, you know? They ain't gonna get Craig or Gina.
Last question. If your late husband Ozzy was here with us today, what do you think he would say about your interview and the way you're sharing your story?
Well, let me just make this. If he was here, there would be no interview. We'd be in that boom boom room, okay? Show him this poom poom. There would be no interview. Crazy. I know he would be proud of me for trying to find some way to help out another couple. All this is to try to help somebody because he couldn't, because his organs were failing, so he couldn't donate them. And he was a donor.
That's all.
That's it.
That's all the questions.
Am I your favorite interview so far?
This has been probably the most comedic interview we've done.
If you ever want to do it again, let me know. On any topic.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with your friends, family, and on your social media. Let's spread the love and keep the conversation going. Join us on this journey of love and marriageology.